Okay guys, I have to come clean. I enjoy Japanese cartoons. I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment, and I don't expect to be forgiven. I'm simply here to apologise. Halfway into 2022, the internet was blessed with the funniest anime meme that was rendered completely annoying within 3 days. The One Piece was in fact real. I saw the funny raccoon dog bawling its fucking eyes out and I was sold. I mean, I'd already watched over 200 episodes at that point, but if I caught up with the manga, I could get Oda's weekly dose injected into my veins from the direct source. None of that off-the-counter, shady weekly anime stuff. We smoking that J.K. Rowling pack. Not that it will matter that much, whatever the One Piece actually is will get spoiled about a week before the chapter even comes out, from 90 different translation teams wanting to get their grubby little paws on the "look at us, we did it first" award. The traditional One Piece pipeline that everyone goes through is looking at the 1,000+ chapters or episodes and thinking, nah, that is way too long, fuck that. But then they try it out and realise, damn, I wasn't expecting it to be that good. Around Water 7, you're completely hooked, and when you're finally up to date, you realise the cold hard truth. One Piece was never too long. It's not long enough. And when I caught up, I was fortunate enough that at the peak of my One Piece hype, this game dropped. Crazy to think that the development of this game started in 2017, meaning it's safe to assume that it happened somewhere between the Dressrosa and Whole Cake Island arcs. It's also crazy to think that 5 years in One Piece production time equates to like 2 arcs of the manga. Equipped with one of the most talented navigators in the world, one of the most talented shipwrights in the world, and one of the most resistant ships, the gang immediately crashes into the island of Waford, which manages to simultaneously be a complete mystery, yet very infamous for people like Robin and the Five Elders. It's there that they're confronted by both the 2 original characters made for this game, the explorer Adio and the priestess Lim. The Straw Hats are a formidable crew combining the talents and prowess of an emperor, several advanced haki users, and overall years of experience in combat, including observation haki, which allows its user to, at the peak of its ability, sense threats before they even happen. Therefore, it makes complete sense that upon seeing a mysterious young woman approach them, that could potentially have literally any devil fruit ability, that the crew retaliates by doing absolutely nothing. They allow her to slowly walk up to every member of the crew and individually touch them, activating her devil fruit power which seals all of their abilities. Lim is like, my fault, OG. So now the crew has to re-experience their memories in the land of Memoria to regain their lost abilities. This splits the story into 2 distinct halves that happen alternatively in an AB alternate rhyme scheme. That's right, not to brag, but I did get an 8 in English literature. My finest qualification that means relatively nothing the moment you get an A level. The first half of the story being the unlocking of the secrets of the island of Waford, and the second half being the revisiting of the 5 key arcs from the actual One Piece story to regain the powers they lost. Overall, the story's not bad, it's just nothing special. The Waford half feels like a filler arc from the show, which isn't inherently bad, but does give me the same feeling of, oh, this is a fun romp, but ultimately doesn't mean anything. But I guess comparatively, filler from One Piece is much, much better than filler from certain other shows. By that same comparison, the Memoria half of the game feels like a recap arc, as it's just retelling what's already happened in the show. I'll give them credit though, they potentially chose the 5 slappiest arcs in One Piece, and experiencing them interactively in a game is a different and ultimately cooler experience than a retelling in the same format the story was originally told through. Hold that right there. Is this cheating? I feel like there's a bit of tomfoolery afoot if you rate the quality of the character when they've already had a head start of being in the highest grossing and one of the highest rated manga series of all time. But to quickly recap the Straw Hats, Luffy is the captain, he's just a goofy little guy that likes eating. A big shock there, he's the shonen protagonist. Zoro is the swordsman who likes to sleep, get drunk, and he gets lost a lot. Nami is the navigator who acts as the straight man of the group unless there's money involved, and then she turns into a sandwich, as no matter how you flip it, the bread comes first. Usopp is the crew's sniper and also God himself, known for his cowardice and his lies that eventually come true like 15 years later after Oda wrote them. Sanji is the chef who is so horny he can literally light himself on fire from pure horniness. Him and the green one like to fight a lot. Chopper is a reindeer who is the doctor of the crew and also the best character known to fiction. If anyone says anything bad about Chopper in the comments, I will immediately ban them and then proceed to delete my channel. Robin is an archaeologist and the sole survivor from the destroyed island of Ohara, giving her the extremely important ability of being like one of two people in the entire show that can decipher the poneglyphs, which are kind of important as if you combine them they give directions to the treasure you might have heard of. I don't know, it's called the One Piece. She also has a Devil Fruit ability that lets her sprout limbs from any surface that she sees, which sounds a bit weird until she walks into a room and snaps the neck of everyone there at once. Good God, I wish that was me. Frankie is a cola-powered cyborg that's the shipwright of the Straw Hats. He's a free-spirited guy, let's say. That's just super. And finally, for now, there's Brook, who is the ship's musician, who was revived by his Devil Fruit ability, but whoopsie daisies, he's now a skeleton. He loves singing and making puns, and is also just as big as pervert as the chef dude from earlier. I highlight these specific character tropes as these have been developed over time since the manga began in 1997, and have been playfully sprinkled throughout the story ever since. Nowadays, every time there's a One Piece film or game, I always notice that they like to cross these tropes off like a checklist. And this game is no exception. Expect Sanji to simp, for lack of a better word, over every woman he sees in the game, expect Zoro to get lost at every point he can, expect them both to fight over every decision made, the list goes on. Lim and Adio, the two original characters, are just kinda there in comparison. Throughout the story I couldn't pick out any character traits from either outside their initial distrust of pirates, but I think in this case it's okay, as they act more as a catalyst for the narrative rather than being just there for the sake of being there. Outside of exploring all the vibrant One Piece environments, by far the best aspect of the game is its battle system. It reminds me of Dragon Quest XI, simple yet effective. You have your classic RPG physical and special move divide, but in this case doing your basic attack gives you back the mana you need to do the cooler special moves. Then there's also the even classicer rock paper scissors strengths and weaknesses table, where power beats speed, speed beats technique, and technique beats power. What separates this game from one like Dragon Quest is the scramble area battle mechanic. Your party and the enemies are separated into different areas. The special moves that you can use are either close range, meaning that they can only hit the enemies that are in the same zone as that character, long range moves that can hit enemies outside of the zone your character is in, and very few moves can hit every enemy regardless of the zone. As you progress through the game, you relearn new special moves and field skills. These can be leveled up with cubes that you find scattered across the map. To start with, the game is very stingy with these cubes, you only get like 1 upgrade point per cube, but at the end you get like 7 cubes per cube. Also throughout the game, you come across these memory link rift things that upon completion unlock joint moves. This would be the part where I make some dumb comparison to the all-out attacks from Persona, however, past the first one, which was mandatory, I didn't bother doing any of them, so they're not that needed. I do wish there were more defensive options, however, something like a guard that you can use for a turn, so you don't have to attack when setting something up, like making a specific character kill the enemy for the XP bonus you can get, for example. As far as party members go, you can use all the Straw Hat members I mentioned before, but 4 at a time. Jinbei was in Straw Hat Limbo when this game started development, or else he would have definitely been here as a power character. Occasionally you will also get a guest character that you can't control but will help you out in battle. These can range from Adio constantly shielding everything instead of doing any damage to the boss, or getting Law and Sabo at the same time, one-shotting everything. You upgrade your characters by giving them accessories that you equip like a block arranging puzzle from Professor Layton. Throughout the story, usually after boss fights, you get the good items that are purple for some reason. These are the good ones that you want to look out for. The way to make the game baby easy mode is to just stack the attack stat like you don't stack that paper you broke at Individual. Then, with Robin's fusion field skill, which you can upgrade, you can fuse 3 attack crowns to make your characters even more busted. There's a little bit of RNG involved, as adding a 301 attack crown, for example, will usually just add 301 attack to the better accessory. However, it has a chance of just doubling the attack for no reason, so your characters at that point can just solo the entire game, harder than the One Piece animation is currently soloing the Naruto animation. The only character I wouldn't just spam with attack accessories would be Chogga, because if you give him some mana reduction and restoration, he can just heal your entire team every round for free. The XP you gain is extremely inconsistent. The first chapter had loads to give, especially when you fulfill the random battle events, and then afterwards in the Alabasta chapter I got barely anything. Speaking of Alabasta, this specific chapter highlighted the biggest problem this game has by far. It is extremely padded. I'm talking modern episode of the One Piece anime having 5 minutes of recap and covering 8 panels from the manga level of padded. Part of it is from how slow you walk, even while sprinting. This is displayed at its lowest, when you have to walk backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards through the Alabasta desert over and over again. Well, at least you can fast travel. You unlock that right at the start of the game. Wait, what's this?
I've unlocked fast travel and have not been able to use it yet, because every time I would have, it's been disabled, so what's the point? Like, oh, let me just quickly fast travel. Nope, sorry, can't do it.
Cannot Yoisa travel at this time. Damn. There is zero reason for the game to not allow us to fast travel at this part. Literally nothing of story importance happens. It's around here in the game you start to notice some of the other big time wasters. Namely the random battles that break up the plot for no reason, and how long the animations for the moves take. Don't get me wrong, the move animations are excellent, but seeing them over and over again makes you wish for a skip animation option, just like Pokemon has. For anyone that goes on to play this game or its demo, do a chapter with the moves sped up during battle, and then afterwards do an entire battle in regular speed. My god is it slow. Despite all the problems that Alabasta gave me, Bonclay did make an appearance, so it's completely redeemed in my books. Now, the combined Water 7 and NES Lobby chapter flows so much better in comparison. There's no repeated backtracking, and the level design is much more concise, meaning it's paced a whole lot better. The Marineford War chapter is the opposite extreme from Alabasta, where it only took 50 minutes to complete in its entirety, in comparison to the 12 hours it took to finish the Alabasta one. This chapter is unique though, as there's no overworld and it's just a string of battles one after the other, which I think is a really effective way to portray the chaotic nature of the Marineford War. The final recap chapter, Dressrosa, is also unique as it only really covers the last 20% of the arc, this being the build-up and the fight with the big bad. Absolutely no bias for this character, by the way. I'm not sure if it would have been better if it did cover the entire arc, but if the Alabasta portion of the game is anything to go off of, then I think it was for the best. Okay. Now we're cooking. Everything from the character models to the in-game environments and especially the animations of the moves looks so fucking good. The game was in development for 5 years and it clearly shows. It definitely helps that the 4 arcs they chose to cover in the Memoria chapters are 4 of the most visually diverse and appealing locations in One Piece, which really highlights the effort that Oda placed in his world building. Even crazier still is if they ever decide to do a One Piece Odyssey 2, there's still Skypiea, Fishman Island, Impel Down, Whole Cake Island, Elbaf, and even more. And yeah, as I mentioned before, the animations of the special moves are extremely good, but do need to be sped up after a while. That being said, they clearly had some, ulterior motives when making some of them, and I know some of you dog-ass individuals won't be fast-forwarding through those. The music throughout the game is really nice as well. Each segment has a unique orchestral accompaniment that matches the environments of those arcs. The main theme stands out for sure. It's really triumphant. It's nice to hear when you hover over the game's icon in the PS5 menu. It's just a shame that there isn't a complete OST uploaded online, anywhere I can find at least. But, whilst looking for it, I did find out that the composer for One Piece Odyssey arranged an orchestral version of the show's famous first opening, We Are, which would have been excellent for the credits, but for some reason was only used in the game's launch trailer? Oh well, expect to hear this in about approximately 80 seconds time. Also, something really weird about this launch trailer is how it has 355,000 views, yet no comments. And I am one of 19 likes. Speaking of, the composer behind the launch trailer and One Piece Odyssey as a whole is called Motoi Sakuraba, who sounds a bit familiar. I mean, he did a really fucking good job with this game, so let's go and check out some of the other games he made music for. My god. Dark Souls 1, 2 and 3, Golden Sun 1 and 2, every Mario sports game, every entry in the Tales series, including Tales of Symphonia and Tales of Arise, Baton Kaitos, and Kid fucking Icarus Uprising. What the fuck? This man descended from the heavens just to bless me with sublime soundtrack after sublime soundtrack. It's crazy how some of my favourite games like Golden Sun and Kid Icarus Uprising are connected in ways I didn't even realise. I honestly believe that this man couldn't make a bad song if he tried. He made the Golden Sun battle theme. He made Dark Pit's theme. He arranged the Final Fantasy VII theme in Smash Bros. Ultimate. God fucking damn. Call me Sneeko the way I'm about to let this man fuck my wife. Overall, definitely a must play for people already into the series. If you have no clue what a Luffy is, then I can see why you might care a bit less about a game like this. Its immense style and charm, measured out by a somewhat safer plot and original characters, grants it a respectable 3.5 stars out of 5 in my eyes. And the fact that this game was made by Ilka also proves that yes, so much more could have been done with Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. I am still not forgiving them for that. But hey, at least it's not the 50th anime arena fighting game in the last 5 years. One day we'll get the open world Sea of Thieves style One Piece game, where you can make a character, get around with Devil Fruit and go on adventures, but until then, this is pretty close. Thanks for watching. For every like on this video, I will raise the rent of every single mother by 10%. You can also check out my Twitter and Twitch pages if you're an, weirdo? Ew. Ew, creep. Ugh, get away from me. Yuck.